Chapter 14. Somehow, an entire week flew by between studying with Stella during the afternoon hours, studying for her own upcoming exams at night, and meeting with Miss Norbert at the shelter. Anita felt like she'd barely had time to sleep. Stella seemed happy, though. Even with just 2 tutoring sessions, she got a B and a C+ that week thanks to Anita's coaching, and Anita was even helping her write a paper for English. For the first time since she'd moved to Hempstead, Anita had a packed schedule, like Lizzie, and Mom couldn't be happier. Neither could Anita. Lizzie, however, was still complaining. Letting her wear the diamond at a fashion show where hundreds of people will be miling about doesn't seem safe. Dad, Anita overheard Lizzie whining to their father one evening. Do you know if they are even going to have security at this event? Will someone be standing with Anita the whole time she's wearing the necklace? I'm certain Mr. DeVille runs a tight ship, Dad said. I wouldn't worry about the necklace. I hope so, Lizzie said. What if someone comes to the event just to try to steal it? Anita fumed. Her sister was being dramatic, but a small part of her now worried. Did the show have security? Would the necklace be safe? She asked Stella that very question when she saw her at tutoring that Sunday, as Stella had suggested they review for the week. No one has ever tried to steal anything from Richard DeVille, Stella declared, and they never would. That necklace is perfectly safe. But now that Anita had that worry in her head, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Why did Lizzie have to put a damper on such a wonderful moment for her? After working with Stella that day, Anita walked into the house to the sound of Lizzie sobbing. Nothing is going the way it's supposed to. I just know I'm not going to get the part of Esther. She heard Lizzie cry. Don't be ridiculous, Mum replied. Of course you're going to get the part. I'm not. I can feel it. Anita is constantly bragging about the gala and wearing the Weatherby, and it has rattled me to the point I'm sure I botched my audition on Friday. I still don't understand how Stella could like Anita over me. I've been nothing but nice to Stella. I'm sure you have, Mum said soothingly, but look at how Anita has flourished from this friendship. I never thought I'd see the day your sister agreed to walk in a fashion show in front of all those people. Stella and Anita have formed a bond, and I think it's a good thing. Anita tried not to be hurt by Lizzie's comment, even as she was pleased Mum was happy for her. I guess, Lizzie said, still sniffling. I guess I just thought Anita would think of her sister and get Anita to let me model in the show as well. Even that nitwit Roger Radcliffe is in it. Miss Norbert, too, Lizzie sighed. I think the eldest Weatherby child wearing the necklace makes more sense, and at least we know the necklace was safe. What does that mean? Mom asked. Do you really trust Anita to keep the Weatherby safe? Now, Lizzie, Mom said, her tone sharpening, your sister has been nothing but responsible. I see no reason why she can't keep the necklace safe. You need to stop worrying about what she's doing and start worrying about yourself. Anita did a little dance in the foyer. She was so happy about Mum's comeback. Maddie sat in front of her, wagging her tail. Maybe this was the start of a new relationship with her parents, one where she felt seen and heard and could tell them about her dreams of going on to do A-levels and then university without them questioning her reasoning. I have so much more to learn, she'd say. I want to study history and writing and someday write a book of my own. And Mum would say, you're right, Anita. I don't know why we didn't see it earlier. You should focus on your studies. We see big things from you in the future. Her mom caught her dancing and laughed. What are you doing? She said as Lizzie rushed past them both upstairs. Just practicing my dance moves for the gala, Anita joked. Think I should dance down the catwalk? Mom chuckled. No. She opened her arms for Anita to come in for a hug. I am so proud of you, you know that? Mum murmured. Anita smiled to herself. For getting invited to a fashion show? No! For getting out there and making friends. You're branching out in new ways, just like I always hoped you would when we moved to London. What a worldly girl you've become since we moved to the city. Anita beamed and wished Lizzie were here to hear this. But she was stomping around their bedroom. Anita could hear her footsteps overhead. Thanks, Mom. Her mom's expression changed. Could you do me a favor tomorrow, though, dear? Be extra kind to Lizzie. She's been having a tough time with all this. Her mom's brows pinched. Make sure when she gets the part in the play, you can congratulate her. You'll do that, won't you? Anita's heart sank. She tried not to let her hurt show. A tough time? With me getting attention? Of course, Mom. She was still thinking about the conversation the next morning when she skipped breakfast and took a public bus instead of the school one to get to school early. Now she was sitting on a bench in Highbrook School's central lobby at 7:25 a.m., waiting for someone from the main office to change the leaderboard. Yes, last week Roger had moved ahead, but this week would be different. She could feel it. That was why she had to be there when Mrs. Ellerman appeared to update the board. Anita would move back into the top spot with just weeks to go till the end of term. She's gotten an A+. A+ on a grammar test when she'd gotten the bonus question right. Stella was improving too. When the board was updated, she expected her friend to move up several spaces. She'd even convinced Stella to do the extra credit essay. Anita had done one as well, choosing to write about how the recent end of sugar rationing meant everyone would be baking more, and she could already imagine the delicious concoctions people would make in their kitchens. Miss Norbert was a big sweets fan, so she suspected she'd liked her essay. She knew for a fact Roger didn't eat sweets. She'd seen him at lunch with his egg salad sandwich, which smelt terrible, and an apple. No biscuits, nothing to drink but water. She wasn't sure how he could stand it. At least Mum packed her and Lizzie's lunches with a small bag of crisps when she had the money to buy them. When Mr. Rolfe actually talked about biscuits, Roger had a look of disdain on his face, as if the mere existence of them was going to bring the end of civilization. He hadn't even done the extra credit assignment. She was positive this was her chance. She would not let Roger Radcliffe take this from her. Anita pictured his smug face and pressed her pencil too hard on her notebook, breaking the point. The motion smudged the sketch she was working on of Madeline lying in a sunny spot on the settee in front of their living room window. Usually she sketched Madeline alone in the frame, but that morning she found herself drawing herself sitting next to Maddie. She was wearing Stella's dress in the image. She had managed to draw the folds of the dress so that they looked like they'd flutter in a gust of wind. And her lines for the neckline and the arms were spot on. While she'd struggled with capturing her hair and her eyes were just right, she'd done a good job of shaping her arms and legs and wondered if she should draw a necklace around her neck. What necklace would make sense? The pearls she borrowed at the dinner? Or did she imagine herself wearing the Weatherby? Diamond, she decided. That was what Stella would do. Anita took out her pencil sharpener to resharpen the point, then started to sketch again. That was when she heard footsteps and sat up straighter. Was it the main office? No. Anita frowned as a boy with pants that needed to be hemmed and wet hair came rushing in. He saw Anita and immediately scowled. What are you doing here? Roger asked by way of greeting. Good morning to you too, Cornelius, she said pleasantly, turning back to her sketch, which was far more interesting than the boy now in her presence. A hint of a smile played on his lips. Annoying Anita, he said with an exaggerated bow. Happy Monday. It is going to be a happy Monday, Anita said, staring at the board with a sigh. Oh, you think so, do you? Roger said, his voice teasing. I wouldn't be so sure about that, Brainiac. She tried not to smile. Sparring with Roger was slowly becoming her favorite game to play, which was odd. He was her nemesis. She shouldn't be enjoying this, should she? Think, think like Stella, she coached herself. Sorry, Cornelius, the top spot is mine, and it's going to stay that way. He folded his arms across his chest, his gaze daring. Are you so sure about that? Positive, Anita said with the conviction. Oh, how she liked this new bold Anita, unafraid to speak her mind and not just taking everything that was dished out to her. Roger turned and walked around the bench she was sitting on. You seem different. Do I? Yes, more mouthy, yet also sure of yourself. I'm not sure I like it, Roger told her, though she sensed he was joking. I bet this is Cruella's influence. You're spending too much time with her. What if I am? Anita challenged. We're friends. He scoffed. Cruella doesn't have friends. She adopts pets, which is ironic considering she hates animals of every kind. I am not her pet, Anita protested, getting annoyed now. We are friends. Friends who help each other climb the leaderboard? He challenged. Because it looks like Stella's grades are improving, and that definitely isn't happening on its own. There's nothing wrong with us studying together. It's not against the rules. Roger looked away. She's using you, to polish her grades. Get someone to help her earn points with Miss Norbert. Be her eyes and ears at school. That's what the DeVilles do. Use people. That's a rotten thing to say, Anita told him, hurt by the accusation. Maybe you're just jealous Stella has no use for you in her life. Her face burned. That wasn't how it was with Stella. Was it? Stella was her friend. Why else would she invite her over? Anita stood up, and her notebook slipped off her lap. She bent to pick it up and added, And you're such an expert when it comes to how friendships work. Why would anyone want to be friends with someone named Cornelius? She saw a flash of hurt across his face and almost second-guessed herself. But then Roger leaned closer, and Anita got a whiff of his soap. Nice try, Weatherby. But we both know you can't pull off Cruella's snobby, aristocratic vibe. Not when you don't have 2 pounds to rub together. Anita blinked back tears. If anyone was cruel, it was Roger. Put a sock in it, Radcliffe, she shouted just as footsteps sounded behind them. Anita Weatherby. Mrs. Ellerman, the school secretary, stood in the middle of the room holding a piece of chalk and an eraser. That language calls for a demerit. I'm sorry, Miss Ellerman, Anita said, her face so hot she felt like she might burst into flames. May I remind you, this leaderboard is about more than just grades, Miss Ellerman said. Shouting at another student is not tolerated at Highbrook. Thank you, Mrs. Ellerman, Roger said sweetly. I'm going to talk to Headmaster Dougal before I update this board. Excuse me, she said, and headed off again, but not before taping a notice to the wall underneath the leaderboard. Anita was close enough to see the title said cast list. Her eyes scanned the list fast. Esther Smith, played by Lizzie Weatherby. Anita groaned. There would be no living with Lizzie now. Roger started to chuckle as Mrs. Ellerman disappeared, which only soured Anita's mood more. Well, if you were about to take top marks, that's ended now, Weatherby. He picked up her notebook and handed it to her. Nice job. She was pulsing with anger now. Well, at least if I did have the top marks, I earned it. He stopped laughing. I don't have to cheat my way to get on the list. You, Cornelius, have said far more hurtful things to me than I ever have to you. His face softened. Anita, I save it. She stormed away, unsure if she wanted to cry or shout again. Roger got her so angry she couldn't stand it. She would go to the main office and apologize to Mrs. Ellerman. Thankfully, Roger didn't follow her. The main office door was closed when she arrived, but she could hear Miss Norbert's voice nearby. That gave her hope. Miss Norbert had always been kind. Maybe she could explain what happened, and Miss Norbert could smooth things over. Anita was about to enter her room when she heard Stella's voice. Thank you, Miss Norbert. I worked very hard on that extra credit assignment. I could tell, Miss Norbert said. 2 weeks in my class and you're already turning things around. Good job, Stella. You deserve this A. I'm proud of you. Wow, Stella got an A on the extra credit paper she'd been helping her with. That was big news. She could imagine Stella's reaction when she saw her later. I couldn't have done it without you, Anita. Thank you for all your help. Stella faltered. Thank you. May I go now? Of course. See you in class. Anita stepped away, not wanting Stella to think she'd overheard. But then she saw Roger coming and spun around, running smack into Stella, sending her books flying. Anita, whatever are you doing? Stella stewed. I'm sorry, Anita said sheepishly, picking the books up and handing them back to Stella. It's fine, Stella said, brushing off her royal blue skirt with her free hand. But now that you're here, I need your help on this history paper on Greek myths. Where are your notes? Roger cleared his throat. Told you, he said under his breath. Anita tried not to appear rattled. Roger was trying to bait her. This was part of their game. But now she didn't want to play anymore. Nor did she want to think the worst of her new friend, her only true friend at Highbrook. What was wrong with lending Stella her notes on the paper? She was helping her with her schoolwork. Wasn't she? And Stella said she was having fun together hanging out at the Seville. This was a completely normal friendship request, she decided. I have them in my bag. I'll show you them later. Fine. Stella placed a hand on her right hip and looked at Roger. Oh, Cornelius, didn't see you there. She smiled so wide, the look bordered on insanity. You're so dull, you blend in with the wallpaper. Anita tried to stifle a laugh, but couldn't help herself. Roger just glared. Oh, Roger, Anita, I'm glad you're all here with Stella, said Miss Norbert, walking out of her office and seeing them together. I feel like we should have a meeting this week to go over everything the Hampton House needs to do to prepare the dogs and cats for transfer to the Seville for the show. Do you three have time to go over details at lunch? Roger stood up taller. Of course, Miss Norbert. We wouldn't mind spending our lunch going over important matters. Splendid, Miss Norbert smiled. This gala is coming along so nicely. She put a hand on Stella's shoulder. Thank you so much for getting your father to work with us. We're going to help so many needy dogs and cats. He even told me about Anita wearing the Weatherby. Everyone is going to be excited to see that. She looked at her watch. If you'll excuse me, I just want to call to the shelter before class starts. There are so many details still to get together before Friday. Bye, Miss Norbert, Anita and Roger said automatically, and then looked at each other with disdain. Be gone now, Roger. Stella waved him away like a fly. I need to talk to Anita alone. With pleasure, Roger said, and grinned at Anita. I have to go look at the leaderboard and see that my name is secure in the top spot. Anita's stomach dropped. She'd done this to herself. Cat got your tongue, Weatherby? Roger was practically dancing. He was so excited. Well, have a nice morning. Anita watched Roger go and tried to control her anger so she wouldn't get another demerit. She could practically feel the blood rushing through her veins. She was going to beat Roger Radcliffe if it was the last thing she did.